So if you follow me on Instagram, you know that we've had an interesting past few days. If you're new here, my name is Dominique, but you can call me Dom. We do have, I show a lot of the garden because that's what I do, but we do have some animals. So we still have our rabbits, chickens, and pigs. And I've shared that we are actually downsizing, and so we'll probably just keep and we have ducks. So we'll probably just keep our ducks, pigs, and ducks, rabbits, and chickens. And we've even downsized our chicken flock. I'm grabbing a harvest basket so we can go outside and we can pick peppers and we can continue to talk. But basically, I have shared in the past that we were downsizing, so we got rid of our goats. We've gotten rid of a lot of chickens, or butchered a lot of our chickens. And so we were just in the process of downsizing. Life has been a little crazy lately, and so we were just pulling back in our animal production and just focus on the garden. With that being said, though, life does not stop happening just because we want it to. And so with that, we have still been having to feed our pigs until we find time to butcher the pigs. So we had a daddy pig, which is Thanos, and then we had 2 baby pigs. We were trying to grow out the babies to butcher them around this time, but we just weren't sure when we were gonna get to butcher them. Well, I think it was 3 days ago, I was at work, Jonathan sent me a message and told me, but I didn't see it because I was at work. I saw it when I got off, and then he sent me a picture of the pig. I actually shared that story on Instagram, so if you don't follow me there, you missed it. But he ended up spur of the moment butchering one of the pigs because the pigs broke free from the side that they are on. They broke free from their electric netting. Then they broke free completely from the other side of the property, which is like more than a little over an acre. So it took him a while to get the pigs back in their area because they didn't want to go back. And so finally he was able to lure them back into the area, but he decided to go ahead and butcher one. And so Nehemiah, my 9-year-old daughter, you guys see her on here a lot, she helped him, which she is the perfect person to have with you because she butchers our chickens with us a lot and guts them and has no problem to butchering animals or like getting their guts out, where some of my other kids don't mind like doing the water or something like that, but they mind getting the guts out, and so she does not mind. So she was the perfect person for my husband to have with him while he butchered. Oh my goodness, Shadow is like in the way. So anyway, yes, she helped him butcher. I'm gonna leave some of these on here because they're small. Same thing with down there, there's some smaller bell peppers, but I'm gonna leave them. And because we don't have a frost in our forecast anytime soon, and so some of these smaller ones, I'm just gonna leave them and let them get bigger until I see we have a frost, and then I'll come and pick them. But anyway, so she helped him butcher the pig. He said it took about 3.5 hours. So I came home that day, and then my friend and I, Allison, you guys have seen her on the channel. She helped me break down a turkey before. She's a chef. They live down the road from us. She was already planning on coming home over for dinner, and so it was perfect timing because then she came over, we ate dinner, and then she helped me break down the pig. So now we have a bunch of pig in our freezer, and the plan was to I do want to make sausage, and so I want to grind most of that up. We did save the belly to make bacon. We did fry up the tenderloin that day, and it was delicious. And then we kept another loin to chop it. We chopped it up into pork chops. We froze that. But then basically everything else, we chopped into like chunks, and then I put them in the freezer because I want to turn that into ground pork slash sausage in the future. I'm so sorry, this like weed that's gone to seed is like totally messing with my brain, because all I'm thinking about is all of those seeds falling right into this garden bed, and so it's really distracting my brain. But anyway, so I'm gonna try and act like I don't see it. But anyway, so she came over, she helped butcher or break down the pig, and so now we have the pig belly wrapped up. That will be bacon. These pigs are not big. I'll show you probably what the baby pig looks like. And so it wasn't like a big belly fat, but we did get some. The tenderloin was really, really yummy. We do have pork chops, and we'll probably fry that up pretty soon. And I don't cook with a lot of pork anyway, and so unless it's sausage or bacon, and so for us, we weren't really gonna do much with like a ham, even though like Thanksgiving and stuff is coming up. So I may, on the next pig that we butcher tomorrow, keep a ham, and maybe this year might be the year that I have our own ham that we butchered here on the farm. It was definitely like a surreal moment where it's like we actually raised this pig here and butchered it. That one's a really big one. But anyway, so that happened, and we did have wiring along the bottom of the fence so that they couldn't break free, but I guess it got really, it shorted it out because the grass our lawnmower was broken for a while, and so we couldn't get the grass, and so the wire, they were able to break through the wire, and that's how they were able to break free. Our lawnmower is fixed now. So we have them not on the other side of the property because there's no electric line to keep them over there. This is crazy how we got a second wave of peppers like this. It's like I want to leave some out here to continue to grow, but then I also don't want the bugs to get them when I had the opportunity to get them. But a lot of these are really great size. Ooh. I'm gonna leave those and see if I can get those bigger. I pulled that one by accident. I think I'm gonna leave the rest of these. These were my favorite pepper this summer. Okay, I think I'll work with those and leave the smaller ones, since technically we are past our estimated frost. Our first estimated frost was supposed to be like November 2nd, I believe, and we're definitely more than a week past that, and there is no sign of frost in our 7-day to 10-day forecast. So I'm assuming that I'll be safe to leave these peppers out here to get bigger. But like, these are really, this is about the size that it could have been probably, maybe this was probably the size that I was getting in the summer. So to get one more basket full in a week after, more than a week after our supposed estimated frost is really, really great. It's rained every day since I was last out here, and I planted this bed with some seeds. But then it's also been hot enough so that these zinnias that were replanted have bloomed again. But I can definitely see, so I didn't plant these zinnias, but you can see that more zinnias is trying to sprout. But I did plant a lot of brassicas and radishes, and they've begun to sprout in this bed, which is really, really nice. As well as this bed, I uncovered this bed. This was our watermelon bed, and I sprinkled a bunch of seeds, and you can see all of that green is with the exception of that grass piece, but mostly all of this green that's growing is the seeds I sprinkled. So having all of that rain really helped to sprout all of those seeds. This is so interesting to have 3 holes in the ground like that. But you can see I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we can count this as 8 beds still covered. Actually 9, because I covered that one recently. And the reason why I didn't plant cover crops in all of the beds that I wasn't planning on using this fall is because I wasn't sure how it was going to work and if it was going to grow fast enough. And so I just tried on the tomato side because I had to change that fabric anyway, because that fabric was 3 feet. And since I remade the beds to 4 feet beds, I was going to need to replant that bed or recover that bed if I wanted to go that route again come spring. And so and it hadn't been struggling with weeds because we had like the cardboard covering it and stuff like that. So I just felt comfortable in a smaller area to see how the cover crop was going to work. But now that I know that it was quickly grown, and you can see how puffy they all are and there's no weeds growing in it, I'm confident that if I do that to the other, how many ever I just counted beds, by taking the fabric off and planting the winter peas, because that's what it is, that they would be able to sprout before, oh, I'm forgetting my basket. They'll be able to sprout before the weeds, just like they did in all of the tomato beds. So my plan is to get some more seeds. But what I did do, I did have a lot of old seeds from like 2017, 2019, 2020, which isn't that old, but I sprinkled them on those 2 beds to see if it would work, because along with these winter peas over here, I did plant a lot of brassicas. So you can see like that's like probably a mustard right there. So not all of them are winter peas. Same thing in this bed, you can see amongst the peas there are non-peas, and then this whole section right here is not peas at all, but brassicas and spinaches. We have like Swiss chard and stuff that I've planted here. And I did replant this front area, so seeds should be sprouting up. And then in my flower bed, I can see that flowers have, especially my Bells of Ireland row right there, going down the row, you can see the seeds have started to sprout. So things are actually looking pretty good in the garden this fall. I'm really excited for the springtime because it will have like a lot of organic matter. The things I'm going to need to work on this fall and winter is filling these beds, because perfect example, this bed, even though I changed it to the 4 feet, there's a soil missing on that side, and so majority of my beds do not have enough soil to fill out the 4 feet that I widened them, but they are 4 feet now. And so I'm going to need to this fall and winter work on getting soil to fill out the 4 feet. And that where cover crops come in, where I can putting organic matter into the soil this fall and winter, as well as while I'm filling up the areas with like compost and stuff like that, they'll be ready when I like chop and drop all of these cover crops in the spring, it will be ready and have like nutrients in it and stuff like that. Because in the past I've struggled with buying compost, putting it in, and then the compost that year just doesn't produce great fruit. And this past summer has been my 3rd year gardening in this area, and the produce that I was able to produce enough produce for my family, and I really think it was because the soil, I built it up over time. So I would hate to set myself back this spring and summer by bringing in compost that isn't the most nutrient rich. I was checking inside these beds. I do think I see some bachelor buttons that are starting to sprout in here. I don't see any carrot seeds that have begun to sprout. Like I said, I do see bachelor buttons in this bed and this bed. Oh, I just saw, okay, I see some carrots starting to sprout there and here. I do see bachelor buttons. Yep, beginning to sprout over here and in that bed, so that's a good sign. Although I have a lot of spicy peppers, I think I'm gonna hold off on getting them because I don't want to mix them with my non-spicy peppers that I need to do inside the house. Like I need to can that broth, but that's so much spicy peppers. I already have a jar of spicy pepper powder, so if you guys have any suggestion of what I should do with these spicy peppers before I pull them, definitely let me know. I think these bell peppers, what I'm going to do is just chop them and put them in my freezer because, oh, that was a bee, because these roses smell amazing. Because during the Hurricane Helene, our freezer, we lost power for more than 24 hours, I think, and our freezer just never turned back on after that. And so we ended up taking out our fridge slash freezer that was in the garage, one of them, and it's sitting right there for right now. And we changed it out with this one because we had 2 white freezers slash refrigerators sitting inside of our garage. And so my husband, that was also on the to-do list this past week, is changing out that freezer. And then he couldn't actually get the old freezer into our garage because it wouldn't fit through any doors. And he actually took the door off, the door hinge off of to get the white fridge in. And he was just saying he had no idea how they even got that silver fridge inside, or stainless steel fridge inside, because it can't fit out of any doors that we have. So right now it's been sitting inside our living room until we can figure out something to do with it. But that's all the craziness that's been happening. And yeah, oh, I didn't even know if I mentioned the chickens, but our chickens haven't been laying for probably a month, and just trying to figure that out. I did mention that we downsized, so I think right now we're up to about 25 chickens, which is less than any period that we've had chickens. Because even when we first started, we started with like 30 something. And so just really trying to regroup over this fall and winter, and once we get rid of our pigs, like I said, just keeping the rabbits, chickens, and ducks. And we may even butcher the ducks and just keep rabbits and chickens for eggs, and then rabbits because I use their manure inside the garden, and they don't really they don't bother us. They're just, you know, like they never escape or anything like that. They don't give us a headache. Actually, they have escaped when we left the door open, but if human error aside, they don't escape. And so keeping our chickens and our rabbits and just working on growing a really big garden and not have any big animals right now, until we can have the time and dedication to make sure we have fences. There's a saying that says good fences make good neighbors, and just making sure that we want to get out of debt. We want to you know, Aiden's graduation and all of the things that I've talked about on this channel with you guys. Doing all of those things requires us to be in a different season right now. And so, yeah. I know this video is probably all over the place, but thank you guys for hanging out with me. And for those of you who have made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And I will see you guys on my next video, which will be showing you guys us butchering a pig. And we've never butchered a pig before. And yeah, and showing you that process.